All right, word. There we go. We have our 3 questions. I have them written down in my notebook. That I don't know what happened, but the page on Monday, this is like my to-do list for the week. On Monday, I wrote everything on here. On like Tuesday or Wednesday, I just show up in the morning and it's like wrinkled and waterlogged and there's like a chocolate stain on it. I don't know what happened.
Actually, ironically, that same thing happened to us like 3 weeks ago. My fiance had like her notebook by the windowsill, which is closed. And she just like went to grab it. Was like her day planner, and she went to grab it. It was just soaking wet. Nothing else was wet. Nothing else was wet. It just looked like water. It was the most. She's like, "How did this happen?" I'm like, "I have no idea." It literally looked like someone like walked into our apartment, dipped it into a bucket of water, put it back, and then left.
Absurd. Hey, Steven. Welcome to Meet the Team Monday.
Hey, Alex. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Anytime. Steven, you're one of the best SDRs we have here. I know you've won MVP just the one time. You're a senior SDR. You've really learned the ropes, and you do a great job on your project. But I want to learn a little bit about where you came from and sort of how you ended up in this role. Can you talk to me a little bit about why you became an SDR?
So I finished college with a degree in chemistry. And so I thought the best way to go is to go in sales, because I learned very quickly that I hated working in a lab. And I gravitated toward a chemical distribution company doing sales for them. And I bit off way more than I could chew there. They kind of tossed me into a area and they were like, good luck. I was doing all the cold calling, all like full cycle sales from start to finish. And I was like, we were in an area that had never been developed, and I just panicked, completely blew it. Made like 4 sales over the course of like 6 months. It was bad. And I started looking for a job, and Demand Drive came onto my plate through a recruiting agency, actually. And I decided to take a chance. Funny thing, about 30 minutes before my interview, I texted my girlfriend, my now fiance. I texted her and I was like, hey, I think I might cancel this interview. I don't know if I want to go. I don't know if I want this job. And she was like, no, you never know. Like, just do it. It's good practice. And I was like, okay, you're right. I'll do it. So I was at home, did a video interview with Sean and then Eli and Chelsea. And the more that they talked about the job, it sounded like something that I was interested in, because my biggest flaw in sales beforehand was that I was terrified of cold calling. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know where to start, where to finish. I was bad. And so I thought, what better way to try and get better than to just throw myself into a job that is just purely cold calling. And so, yeah, I ended up, obviously I took the job, and that's how I ended up here doing SDR work. And I couldn't have gone better. I got here, the training was amazing. The first couple days I was super nervous, but then, you hear everyone else do it. You hear everyone else fail every once in a while. You laugh it off and you go to the next one. And it definitely was like the best case scenario as far as like going to a job, because everywhere else I was looking for like account manager stuff, because I wanted to do the end part of sales. I didn't want to handle the cold calling at all. I couldn't land any of those jobs because I didn't have enough experience. And so kind of figured, I'll throw myself into this, and worst case scenario, I get fired after a week because they think I'm terrible, or best case scenario is where I'm at now, where it's, it's been going great for the past, 10 months now.
Yeah, it's a lot of time. Yeah, we're super glad you're here too. Pivoting a little bit, I want to talk to you a little bit about your time outside of work, what you do for fun. For anyone watching, I know the answer is Rocket League. If anyone wants to watch us stream sporadically and be terrible at a game, check it out. But
if you want to join for good conversation and horrible gameplay, you can find us, Pigeon Boys.
But outside of that, let's see. What's your favorite podcast?
So I listen to quite a few, actually, and honestly, my favorite. I'm a huge sports buff. So the beginning of quarantine was brutal without any sports, but Ryan Russillo podcast is where I lean. Former guy, used to work at ESPN with Scott Van Pelt, and then he went to The Ringer. I don't know. I just think he's very, as far as a guy that, talks about sports, he's not the Skip Baylesses, the Shannon Sharps, the Stephen A. Smith of the world. He's very even keel. He's honest. And he shoots it straight, which I really like because I'm not into the whole inflammatory, like needing to find the hottest take in the world for today. I'd like that he just talks sports to talk about sports. And when he does interviews, I think that, you can tell he builds a rapport with a lot of people. And then he also does a lot of he had a pretty interesting, come up into the industry. And so hearing him talking about that, how, one of his things that went viral, I think last year, was like how the year age 22 was like the worst year of his life. And so, he's very relatable in the sense that he lucked into his job. He made the most of it. And he jokes about how his life sucked for a long time. He was bartending. He was poor. He was living in Martha's Vineyard in the winter. So, I just think that a lot of that resonates with me because we're all, a lot of us guys are, mid 20 years old that are just trying to make things work and trying to get lucky. And, it gives you something to be like, hey, that could happen to me too.
Yeah, that's a good point. I will say, I don't like the way his name is spelled. I don't like it.
The Ryen is really, I
really don't like it.
That's a question for his parents if somehow they ever come into play. That's like, why do they have to be different? It's like it's like the new age people who, and I might upset some people, but the people that spell their names instead of Ley or something like that, it's Leigh now. It's like, why do you need to throw in all these extra letters?
Just to confuse you, make it
right.
Last question for you. You sort of spoiled it a little bit for me earlier.
A little bit.
With Beyonce, but my question is really anything interesting last couple of weeks?
Yeah, so 2 weeks ago, I proposed to my girlfriend. She did say yes, so she's now my fiance, and yes. It was, it was exciting. We had been talking about it for a while, and, I took her out to the wharf. I proposed to her out over in Christopher Columbus Park, and then we kind of enjoyed some drinks with some friends afterwards. Had the joy of having to FaceTime several family members afterward, all of which don't know how to operate FaceTime. So that was exciting because, it's shouting the same thing over and over again. But, we're excited, and actually that'll be the first time because we booked it today, but we officially have a date for the wedding, and it's going to be October 9th, 2021. So we're excited about that. And now's the fun part of the planning and, watching our money slowly whittle away as we give it to people to plan a giant party. So let's just pause after you said the date, and we'll be excited. October 9th, 2021. We are excited though. I couldn't be happier. She's awesome. She's, like I said in the part about why I became an SDR, she's really the reason that I'm here right now. If I had been single and making that decision on my own, I wouldn't have ever done the interview with Demand Drive. So honestly, she's really the pivotal point of how I got here. So, it's a testament to her, and it's been a lot of fun ever since.
I love it. Love. It's a beautiful time to be alive. It's not the most beautiful time to be alive, but we're still alive. And we're trying to thrive. We're trying. Steve Worky, thank you so much for hopping on with me. I'm sure I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Alex. It was a good time, and like we said, we'll see everyone on the stream sporadically every week.